Hi, I'm Al Trujillo, Professor of Oceanography at Palomar College, and we're here at the beach, and specifically here at a tide pools location. This is Swami's Reef in Encinitas, California, and we're here during a really good low tide to observe some of the different organisms that are found in a tide pools environment. Now, we're here in the intertidal zone, and the intertidal zone is broken up into a series of zones, and I wanted to explain a little bit about these different zones and what kinds of adaptations these organisms have. So in back of you by the cliffs is what's called the spray zone, and as the name implies, it only usually gets spray from waves breaking or during a really good high tide. It might get submerged during that time. Now, organisms that live there, they need to be adapted for drying out, and many of them have shells and other adaptations to prevent the loss of moisture because they have a long time in which they're out of water. Then the upper intertidal zone is just shoreward of that, and the upper intertidal zone also has a lot of organisms that have adaptations for drying out. Many of them have shells, and they'll be covered during a good high tide, but they do spend considerable amount of time out of water. And where I'm standing in back of me here is what's called the middle intertidal zone. And in the middle intertidal zone, what happens is you get the daily movement of the tides up and down, so variously covering the middle intertidal zone, then exposing it. So there's a lot of variety of different organisms here. Part of the problem that organisms that live in this zone have is being able to successfully hide and camouflage themselves during the time of low tide. And then in about another half an hour or so, we'll get to the peak of low tide, and that will expose the lowermost part, which is called the lower intertidal zone. And this lower intertidal zone only is exposed during the very lowest tides of the year, which is where we are and what we have right now, or coming up in just a few minutes. And those organisms in the lower intertidal zone, typically they're not so concerned about drying out, but they'll have other adaptations for being able to camouflage and hide, but also be able to withstand a lot of the wave shock. So those are some of the adaptations in that lowermost intertidal zone. So we're here to explore the intertidal zone and to find and describe some of the different organisms. So let's go find out what kind of organisms are here, and we'll see what we can discover in this area.